What happens when someone who constantly preaches about race and reparations suddenly finds herself at the center of a shocking revelation? That's exactly what happened when Sunny Hostin, a co-host on The View, appeared on PBS's Finding Your Roots. Her long-standing obsession with identity politics was turned upside down in a moment, so ironic you'd think it was scripted.
It's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living.
I was talking about my maternal grandmother.
You know, they did mine too, and I found that it's very sad what people had to go through to get there. You'll find out when you go back like that.
I had no idea that my grandmother had suffered.
What made it even better was Greg Gutfeld's scathing, hilariously brutal takedown of Sunny Hostin's hypocrisy that left viewers stunned. Buckle up. This one's a wild ride. Here's the story. Sunny Hostin, known for her frequent and intense discussions about race inequality and reparations, decided to explore her ancestry on PBS's Finding Your Roots. You'd think someone as vocal as Sunny would already have a solid understanding of her family history, right? Well, apparently not. As the results were revealed, Sunny learned something that left her visibly uncomfortable and sent shockwaves across social media. It turns out her ancestors weren't just immigrants or struggling laborers. They were slave owners.
Who I think is truly the nastiest woman on television and a genuine racist and not that bright, despite her law degree and everything else. She found out a little bit, you know these TV shows where they tell you a little bit about your family history and your ancestry? She found out some stuff about her ancestors that, well, take a look.
You could feel the air leave the room as Sunny sat there, wide-eyed, trying to process the revelation. She stammered, "I always thought of myself as Puerto Rican. I didn't think my family was originally from Spain or slaveholders." Cue the awkward silence. Sunny then tried to recover, muttering something about how this would be interesting for her kids to know. But the damage was already done. It's not every day that someone so outspoken about racial injustice learns their family played a direct role in the very history they condemn.
Gad, her genealogy test came back negative. Yeah, she's related to slaveholders. What are we gonna do? Should Whoopi flog her on the show? Sit on her? What do we do? What do we do?
Naturally, Greg Gutfeld wasted no time addressing the irony on his show. He opened with a classic zinger. Sunny Hostin's slave-owning ancestors? This is like finding out a vegan secretly owns a barbecue joint. The audience erupted in laughter as Greg broke down the layers of hypocrisy. Sunny, who loves to lecture everyone about reparations, might need to start writing checks herself. Greg pointed out that Sunny's typical strategy is to weaponize race in almost every conversation. But now the tables had turned. Imagine the next time Sunny tries to pull the race card on The View, Greg said. Someone's going to remind her, at least we're not slave owner racists.
With race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from Sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, you know, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children to know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
Fact of life. Interesting change of tune. For more, we go to our chief Sunny Hostin correspondent for a reaction.
But Greg didn't just stop at pointing out the irony. He highlighted Sunny's refusal to reflect on the new information. She brushed it off as just a fact of life. No apology, no acknowledgement of her hypocrisy, just a shrug and move on, Greg said. Can you imagine if it were anyone else? His panel chimed in, with one co-host saying, "If you're going to spend your entire career shaming others for their history, maybe take a moment to acknowledge your own." Another joked, "So now we understand why Sunny always makes Whoopi get the coffee."
To let everyone know that I am very much against slavery.
Okay, good.
Very brave to say that on this panel. You know, karma, definitely. I mean, it's one thing, it's gonna be so awkward on, you know, new episodes of The View when she tries to pull the race card.
Yes.
And then she's like, America is racist. And then they're like, yeah, they might be racist, but they're not like slave owner racist. like somebody that we
That's so true.
Yeah.
she could have maybe done better. Okay, here's the thing. One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any, is she said, well, like, I guess that's just what, like, they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this before. That was like, to me, the one thing that was missing.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, okay, now that you have this information, have you had any personal growth? Do you think about things differently? You have to acknowledge that.
If she is shaming descendants of this, will she continue to do that when she is now one of them, Dana? And it is funny. She is so wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
Well, now we understand why she always makes Whoopi get the coffee.
That's not true.
But you think about things that she said and how offensive they are.
Yeah.
Well, karma.
Yeah, it is.